approach notes. This is a big subject, so we'll start with something simple. So what approach notes are is we take our arpeggios. Let's go to B flat. So on a 2-5 in B flat, we'd have C minor, F7 to B flat. Let's just take C minor 7, start with that. Just something straightforward and do a couple approaches. Approach notes are you can take any note in the scale and approach it. But let's take the arpeggio notes. So a C minor 7 is C, E flat, and G. And if we do it as a minor 7, we add the B flat. And we'll start with the root. We can also do this on the 3rd or the 5th, like I said, but let's take the root, and the idea is just to approach it with other notes surrounding, so it can be something simple as just, but that's, let's start with something a little more complex where we go a half step below. It's usually thought of in steps. Half below, a whole step above, and then our target. And so you take that and play the arpeggio. Every time you come to a C, backwards. And there we go. So that I'll write out in tab, and then let's try something a little more complicated. So we can go half below, whole above, same thing, but now we'll go back to the half below. So we can go, you can do anything. And then now let's try something chromatic. I'll write this out in tab 2. So we'll do. Yeah. There we go. So we're going half below, whole above, half above. So this one adds a little chromaticism. And then finally we'll take a bigger one, which we're going whole step below, half step, and then whole step above, half step above, back to half step below, target. And so you can practice them up and down the arpeggio, and then they don't always rhythmically work out, so you can that did. So those are a couple ideas will have written out in tab, and then you can also come up with your own approaches. It could be 3 above, 1 below, above, some below. You can play around with different things, but those are a good place to start. And then the next thing is to write them out approaching the 3rd. So if we're doing this on the root, we'll do it again, but instead of on the root, and it's a little tricky playing them. And then do it on the 5th. So do it approaching the G in the same way. You can do any approach on any note, but covering the basics, the basic root 3 and 5, and then it gives you it'll help to bring them out when you're doing improv, and then you can combine notes. There's the root, the 3rd, and the 5th, or the root and the 3rd, not the 5th, or all 3. That one's pretty easy. And so forth. For starting, just for starters, on the C minor 7, we'll work with that. And so when you do an improv, out, you know, where they come. And you can do them on chord tones too. Like if we're in C minor, you could approach the 9, the D, or the A, you know. But we'll get into those later. We'll just leave it off with some basic approaches in the tab on the C minor 7, and we'll go from there. All right, cool. Approach notes.